Welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast with author Sarah F. Hathaway and co-host Chen Gibson. Blending survival, fiction, and fact to bring you entertaining education that will help you dream, survive, and thrive. And now, here's your host, Sarah F. Hathaway and Chen Gibson.
Chapter 57. After purging the sorrowful emotions, Cole awoke with a sense of purpose in the morning. There were steps to be taken, and his problems with arresting his best friends weren't going to help accomplish any of the things he needed to make sure got done. Everyone had a role to play if they were going to achieve their goals. Nobody talked much as the transport rolled south full of refugees to add to the camp. Among them were Monroe and Ginger. Chappie stood guard over them, watching Monroe look longingly at Ginger on the other side of the transport. Chappie began unhooking the refugees from the center chain they were all hooked to as the truck pulled to a stop. "I hope you're real proud of yourself, Chappie. How's it feel to see your friend and his pregnant wife in chains because of your big mouth?" Overhearing Monroe's comment, Cole was impressed Chappie had stayed quiet, going about his business. "You're not going to say anything?" Monroe insisted as Chappie unhooked him. "Stow it, Monroe. The time for talking is over," Cole commanded as he jumped out of the vehicle. Aware of his high-ranking refugee prisoner, Captain Areno had come to oversee the transfer himself. "Good to see you, Major," Areno greeted him. "I wish it were under different circumstances," Cole admitted. "Sometimes good men go bad. Nothing can be done about it," Areno assured Cole. "Maybe so. But these two are special to me," Cole told him, walking with him toward the back of the truck. "We usually start them out in the welcome warehouse and survey them for behavior before they're released, but if you think..." Areno was interrupted by the noise of Monroe shouting in the truck. "Screw you, Chappie! You knew what would happen!" Chappie barked back at him. "So did you! It was your decision!" Walking quickly to the back of the truck, Cole watched Monroe jump out of the car onto Chappie, screaming, "I thought I could trust you!" Chappie tried to defend himself, but Monroe had the high ground and took Chappie down. Straddling Chappie, Monroe rained down punches to the man's face. Cole ran forward, grabbing Monroe. "Get off him! You'll kill him!" Finding his footing, Monroe was crazed. "I'll kill you too," he raged, punching Cole in the mouth. "Put him in restraints," Areno commanded, calling in the federal soldiers in the area. "You okay, Major Virgis?" "I'm fine," Cole answered, spitting blood out of his mouth. "The female can go into general population, but he is going into the box," Areno insisted, disgusted by Monroe's behavior. "I understand," Cole agreed. "I never thought..." Areno cut him off. "It's like I said, Major. Sometimes good men go bad." "I guess so," Cole admitted, helping Chappie to his feet and checking on the man's face. "You and your men are more than welcome to stay for the night. You know where the guest quarters are." Cole thanked him for his trouble, and Areno left to oversee the transfer. As they walked away, Chappie mumbled, "Everything about that felt wrong." "We did what we had to do," Cole replied, sharing his feelings. "Let's go find Alex." "This place is hopping," Chappie declared, watching the never-ending line of people at the gates. "Where there's food, there are people," Cole answered absent-mindedly. Chappie rubbed his belly. "I could sure go for some of that." Crossing in front of one of the incoming refugee processing centers, Chappie tapped Cole on the arm. "Major, isn't that Erica over at Refugee Check-In?" Cole stopped momentarily, looking at the individual Chappie had pointed out. "It is," he agreed, pausing for a moment as contingency plans ran through his mind. "Somehow we have to get her whole family out. That's going to be the trick." They continued to the old casino that they used to house mercenary soldiers. Their noses took them toward the eatery on the left side of the main room. "Major Virgis, how are you?" Alex asked, approaching. Cole smiled widely, stating, "Just the man I was looking for." Speaking quietly, Alex informed him, "I heard you brought in Monroe. What happened?" Scanning the room, Cole suggested, "Let's get a table in a quiet corner." Alex nodded at him, and the men entered the restaurant. They picked a table in the back, and as they sat down, the waiter approached. "Can I get you gentlemen some food? Drink?" he asked. "I'll have a beer and the chicken dinner," Cole requested. "I'll have the same," Chappie declared, gently touching his puffy lip. Looks like you've seen better days, the waiter commented about Chappie's condition. Moving unruly refugees, Chappie commented. I can't understand why we keep some of them alive. They'll never be worth a damn, the waiter commented. I'll go get you a cold beer. That should help. The waiter left and Cole explained to Alex. Monroe was going to desert the forces. Ginger is pregnant. He wanted to be a father, not a soldier. Alex nodded at him. He came to me a while back asking if I could get him out, Alex admitted. He never told me, but you're not the first one I heard it from, Cole admitted. Chappie looked down, thinking about how he betrayed his friend. It's not your fault, Chappie, Cole insisted. I told him then he could be a father and a soldier, Alex explained. He didn't see it that way, Cole answered sadly, pausing to collect his thoughts. Chappie's stomach grumbled as the food smells wafted through the air. Chappie was more concerned with a bruise on his face. He poked at it, looking at his reflection in the metal napkin dispenser. You know as well as I do the feds are pushing to have me removed and destroy the free towns, Cole noted. If Monroe left, it would give them the perfect excuse, Alex added, understanding Cole's concerns. I couldn't let that happen, Cole stated as the waiter approached. They paused their conversation, waiting for the man to put the plates and drinks down. Here you go, gentlemen, he said, winking at Chappie. Thank you, Cole responded as the man left. I think that guy is sweet on you, Chappie. He's not too bad on the eyes, Chappie teased back. I never knew you swung that way, Alex stated sarcastically. There are some lonely nights out in the desert, Alex. You never know who you might wake up with, Chappie commented. Cole knew Chappie's drinking habits and wasn't sure if he was serious. Anyway, Cole interjected, directing the conversation as he poked his fork into his chicken. He was surprised by the moisture hidden in the meat. I've been out to see General McClintock. He wants to go forward with the Eureka plan. I think that's a good choice. She deserves a shot. I've always thought so, Alex commented. Well, she's going to get it, Cole stated, taking a bite of his chicken. The militia isn't going to assist, though. After what happened with William, they want nothing to do with her. But they'll help get Cassidy out. I told them I was going to get them both, at once. Almost spitting out the swallow of beer he had just drunk, Alex gasped. Geez, Virgis, that's a tall order. I know, but it has to be done. We have refugees on the inside. We can use them to provide a distraction and get as many of them out as possible. Cole relayed his plan. You know you can't just take Erica. You're going to have to get her whole family out. And they are spread all over the place, Alex noted, concerned with the logistics. Plus, I can't be here. We can't give the feds an excuse to take the West or turn on the Merc forces. We're going to need a miracle, my friend, Alex prayed, staring at the bottle in his hand. I'll help while I'm here and coordinate my people on the inside, but it's well known that Cassidy visits me. I can't be here when she escapes. It would raise too many questions. I'll stay available, but hopefully I won't be needed. I have a handful of people that would help. We'll see what we can put together, Alex assured him. Hello, and welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast. This is episode number 463, season 15, episode 57. Hey, Chin, what's up?
Chin's up, y'all.
So, you're not too busy or anything over there, are you?
I almost feel like an author.
Oh, man. I tell you, it just never ends.
Get that stack of to-dos going.
I was going to give you, something to do this week, but because I figured you definitely needed more going on in your life. So,
yeah. You do your laundry, wash the car. What do you need?
Yeah,
do the windows.
You're teaching a class out of prepper camp this year.
Which was one of the things I was doing today.
Yeah. Got to add it in. So, yeah, got to get those slides in.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Always fun. I was like, I kept putting it off, right? I'm like, I'm going to get to that. Rick's like, I need them. I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah, I got the same email.
Uh-oh. Better not put back word to that
Rick,
anymore.
You know what's going on in my life right now, and you're sending me this email.
Right? You butthead.
But I got her done.
The good news was, 2 weeks from Thursday, you're going to be setting up at prepper camp. I was like, yeah, we are. So I believe tickets are sold out now, guys. So if you didn't get your tickets this year, there's always next year. And if you haven't been to prepper camp yet, you better get your butt there eventually, because it is just
what's your problem?
Yeah.
What's your problem?
What is your problem? It's a ton of fun. You will have a blast. I guarantee it. So, I've been watching the weather and all that stuff. You know me. Seeing what the Earth's going to do. We're a little far out, but hopefully it's going to look good. We'll see.
I saw there's a tropical system brewing down your way.
There's a tropical system. Yeah. Everybody's like, oh, it's going to go to Mexico. It's going to Mexico. For sure. It's going, it's turning up to us. I'm like, I knew it.
Wednesday's going to be Watch the Weather Day.
Yeah, so it looks like it's going to shoot through Louisiana. Yeah. So, I mean, Phil's going to get it, not me.
Say hi, Phil. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got the chainsaw, Phil.
Yeah, I'm always like, oh, we didn't get it, but Phil's getting smashed over there.
I hear you.
So.
It's like I moved from the beach. Well, we weren't on the beach, but we moved from Charleston up into the mountains. But I still have family down here, so I'm like, it's like
whenever the tropical storms.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You're still worried about the family and everything. At least they have a place to go to now, though. If they they can just come up to your place.
I'll put them to work. Come on up.
Yeah, come on up. We got plenty of shovels. It's your 80-year-old mama out there.
You would? Hey, I wouldn't argue with that woman.
Oh, shoot. I don't know. Tell me about it.
She raised a 6'6" kid. She knows how to do it.
My mom's smaller than me. She's 4'9", barely 100 pounds, and I wouldn't mess with that woman, man.
That's the thing about moms, right?
Right. Alrighty, so audio drama drop. Episode 6, season 4 is live right now. Check it out. We are barreling ahead with the story. There's just no slowdown, really, this season as well. It's going to just move, just like season 3 did. So it's going to get, hold on to your guys' shorts. You're in for a wild ride. 7 is up for my paid subscribers to the Changing Earth podcast. So go check that out. Let me know what you think. I'm always eager to hear feedback, how you guys like what's going on. And I can't talk to you about what I'm working on because it's just all spoilers. So this week, though, in our Virgis story, Monroe went to Vegas, or Virgis took Monroe to Vegas, lock him up. And he meets with Alex to discuss this game plan. So it's an interesting situation for Virgis here in the end, because he's a major leader, power player in everything that's going down. But he can't actually be there, or it'd be way too obvious, right? Mm-hmm. So, I think I'm way too much of a control freak to just be like, yeah, I trust all my people to do the right thing, Really, you should. And it's something that I've always, whenever I find a weakness in myself, I'm always after how to turn that into a strength, right? Whether it's a kick I do sucky, or a leadership skill that I'm lacking in. So this was actually pretty interesting to me today to research, these tactics to delegating as a leader. Because I'm always like, well, you want something done right, you do it yourself, So I took too much on my shoulders as a leader all the time. Yeah, go figure, right? Mm-hmm. I'm just starting to let go of some of the aspects. Oh, speaking of some of the aspects, if you guys haven't been over to the ChangingEarthSeries.com and checked out my new book covers, get over there and check it out. They won't be ready for prepper camp, but they are up there for you guys to look at. They look fantastic. Huge shout out to Doug Hogan. He does incredible work, and they turned out like each one is a little work of art. So they turn out really, really slick. And go check that out. I'm sure you're going to want a new set. If you have an old set, you're going to be like, I got to get the new set now. So We also got some new merch up there, some really cool t-shirts. Love the Pain t-shirt, V-neck for, all the ladies who want a nice shirt. And the sweatshirts, the Changing Earth sweatshirts are bomb. You know how sweatshirts have those pointy hoods? I hate the pointy hoods. Hate them with a passion. So I found a sweatshirt. It has a rolly hood. It's a big hood. They're thick. They're comfy. Definitely with winter coming on, pick up a Changing Earth sweatshirt. They are worth it. They're really good quality. So I'm always looking for that good sweat pant material, right? I think that's the next item I'll do is some sweatpants. Well, the ones you used to buy at college were like thick, nice sweats.
Like what you had on a track team or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the sports teams. You had that nice warm-up suit.
And they would last for I sold some from when I went to Sac State. Yeah, like 25 years ago. They were good quality stuff. And you buy this, garbage at Walmart or Target or whatever, and they last like
barely last a season.
Yeah, right. So I'm always on the lookout for like that good sweatsuit material. And I definitely found it in the sweatshirt. Well, you got one of those sweatshirts.
I did. Yeah. I've sent you pictures of me wearing it around the countryside.
Yeah, aren't they comfy? They're like this little snuggle pants.
Very nice.
Yeah. So, okay, so let's get into delegating as a leader. There was a great article that I found on the Harvard Business Review, and I'm telling you, it was like I was back in school again. I was like, this is great. So I'm putting it up in the live chat. See some folks over there. I'm going to throw it up there so you guys can check it out, kind of follow along as we go. But if you are a leader who can delegate responsibility, now think about the difference between tasks and responsibilities, right? Because I have no problem telling people, like, do this, right? Because but like, having the faith in somebody that they're going to take care of that whole responsibility. You're putting them in charge of gardens because you have to do something else. You're overseeing the gardens, the defense, the tracking movements, all of this stuff, right? So, really having the faith in those people that they can take that responsibility and go with it is quite a different thing than just a task. Increases productivity, morale, and commitment. So last week, we were talking about loyalty, right? And in a survival group, oh my goodness, you have to be loyal to each other. Like you could really screw somebody over by, being the one who's disloyal, giving away group secrets to an opposing group or something like that, So it's really important. And if people don't feel like they have responsibility, their morale is not going to be as high, their trust. So, top 500 companies, if they have executives who can delegate authority properly, the companies grow faster, create more revenue, and create more jobs. So this definitely transfers to our survival groups. You're going to be more efficient, more productive, and more likely to thrive as a group. 100% transferable over to any kind of group that you're doing. So, of course, I was even more interested. People don't want to be led. They do, but they want to feel like they have a part, a say, a piece that's theirs out of the pie.
Right.
So I always say, like, if you want something done right, do it yourself. So John C. Maxwell said in Developing Leaders Around You, if you want a few small things done right, then do it yourself. If you want to do great things and make a big impact, then learn to delegate. That's so true. I mean, even like the platform I'm working on, yeah, I can do a lot of things well. But to grow up to the level where we're putting together a TV series and all of these things, it's going to take a big team of people to actually make that happen, right? So, same way with the survival groups. I always laugh at these people are like, I'm going it alone. It's going to be me and my family against the world. Right? Like, how long is that going to last? And if you think that you're going to be a leader of that group, well, you better learn to utilize your resources that you have. And that includes great people who can take those responsibilities and really run with them. So roadblocks to delegation. This was interesting because, this is self-analysis, right? What is stopping you from trusting in that other people? So sometimes you don't know what to delegate or how that would be helpful to you, right? You're like, oh, this is what I do. I do this, this, and this. And what piece could I give up that would really help me out? That's a challenge, right? Maybe you really like the gardens and you really like the defense and you really like putting together community stuff. Well, you can't do it all. So you're going to have to trust somebody else to do one of those things. And then it wasn't just delegating tasks, but responsibilities. Some people are like, yeah, I'm a great delegator. I have everybody else do my menial tasks for me. Well, that doesn't really give anybody that feeling of, this is my responsibility to take care of my piece, It's just I am digging the hole for them. Great.
Right. Of feeling a community as opposed to a feeling of a chain gang.
Yes. Yes. Right. I mean, that's what it's going to be all about. So one of the interesting things, the responsibilities that you delegate to really help that other person grow with that responsibility. Maybe they're not the best at putting together every facet of it yet, but they could take that responsibility and then develop personal growth.
It's like a little kid. If you never let them bake a cookie, they're going to make a mess of the kitchen the first time.
Right.
But if they never do it, they don't understand the steps and the processes and why you do this, so you don't have to do that.
That's it. That is so it. One of the other ones that was interesting, people that are higher up have a lack of role models to follow. Mm-hmm. So whenever you have a leader and you have higher ups over you, you're going, okay, well, I need to be kind of like them to be able to get to that level. This is what they're looking for. I can follow how they did it. But when you're up there at the top or in that top group, you don't really have a role model to go oh, well, so-and-so is running their group well. I'm going to follow that model. So that's why it's really important that we do so much research now so we understand what this looks like when we get there. And then, last but not least, the perceived reputational risk. And I think that's why it's so hard to let go of control sometimes. Because if they screw up, then it's a reflection upon you and your reputation. Right? So you're mentally trying to guard that and protect that. So leaders state goals and then describe how their behaviors are stalling their efforts. So this is all personal reflection of you as a leader. This isn't I'm the best leader, so I'm going to analyze what my team is doing wrong. Right? This is I'm a leader and I need to look within at some of my processes and make it so that if people take them over, they're already set up for success. Right? We all procrastinate. We all do these things. So is there something you're lacking that hinders the ability of somebody else to really take that job over? You know how to fix the shovels, but you want somebody else to take over garden management, but you keep repairing the shovels off, so they can't really do that job. And you're like, why didn't you do your job? Right? I mean, so obviously that I'm trying to put it all into, a survival situation and how that would look like. But we all procrastinate things. And we need to make sure that we're setting up those people for success. And then really think about if you were expecting someone to do the job that you do and you're putting off certain items or not attending to certain items the way you should, how would you feel if one of your subordinates was doing that? That's a great chance for personal reflection to make sure you're doing your job to the best of your ability as well. Okay, so the emotional immune system. I loved this terminology. These things that you're lacking activate the emotional immune system, which tries to ward off feelings of fear, overwhelm, loss of control, or disappointment. So you really have to look within yourself and challenge those things where you're like, well, if I give it to him, what if this happens? If I give it to him, what if that happens, right? So obviously you don't want to take somebody who barely knows how to use a shovel and be like, oh, gardening's all yours, have a ball. I mean, that's an important, really important piece of everybody getting fed in the long run. So start with like small things and go from there. Things that you'd be okay with delegating to somebody else. Doesn't really have a huge impact on the eventual outcome. And then you get in that mindset of being able to trust people and do those things. So we come down to how to effectively delegate. Well, this article is great. You guys got to check it out. It really was. I was like, I am learning. I'm going to apply some of these things in my life today for sure. Choose the right person. So I'm like, oh, yeah, I could choose the right person.
That makes
easy.
sense.
Right? Boom. Check.
Let's just make your life easy from the get-go.
Right. And then it's like, not just who can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Not just they have the ability to do that. But who needs to develop those skills? Really important with like medic situations. You got to have multiple medics. Not everybody is trained medically right now for sure. So that's going to be a big part of like, okay, we can take this person and have them cross-train in the medical world as well. You've got to always think about, what if they get sick? What if somebody's hurt? What, God forbid you don't have them anymore, So that cross-training is going to be really important as well. So who needs to develop the skills? Who has an interest in it? You're like, oh, well, Sally Sue can do this. She does it really well. Maybe she hates doing it. And now you're going to make that her primary responsibility. So, right? So you're going to live in misery. So I was like, oh, that makes sense.
I was just laughing at Garden Girl's comment that she can't let control. Control.
Right? It's a problem. Leadership problem for sure. Because you're like, no, I want it done my way.
It's just easier to do it yourself.
Right.
By the time I explain how to do it.
Yes.
And then watch you do it wrong and then fix it.
Oh, it's so true. You'd have made a great dad. Because we did that like so much. We're like, oh, it's just easier to, we'll just do it. We'll just do it. We'll just do it. And then it's like, they're not learning the skills that they need to actually do those things when they're older. You better take some time, put on your patience pants. That's what, I'm like, man, I literally get to like teeth grinding and I'm just like watching my husband peck on the keyboard with one finger, two fingers. I'm just like, give me that, So you got to step back sometimes. Who would see it as a reward? Right? Sally Sue hates doing that job. She's going to see it as a punishment. But maybe, Johnny Joe over there was like, I've always wanted to learn to do this. Guess who sucks at making up character names? Me.
Johnny Joe.
Johnny Joe. So, they're like, hey, I always wanted to learn to do that. I'm sure I could do it really well. That kind of thing. They're going to have passion. They're going to have drive. They're going to really excel at the position more so than somebody who may know how to do it but hates doing it. So it's very interesting to see. Patience pants needs to be a t-shirt. Yes, ma'am. Put on your patience pants.
No, that's what you need to put a rainbow across the butt of your sweatpants that you're going to make.
Yes. Patience
changing
pants.
Earth.
Changing Earth. Except the Changing Earth emblem might be in a really bad spot. I'm just saying.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Just saying. Okay. You need to be really, really clear about this responsibility and how much autonomy they have. So autonomy, being able to like make your own way and do it yourself, is actually desired over task, team, technique, and time. People would rather have the autonomy to do the job the way they want to do it rather than any of those other things. I found that really, it makes sense. You know, I work on my own most of the day. I just take care of what I'm supposed to take care of. I don't have like a boss telling me, oh, well, from this time to that time, you better be doing this. And from that time to this time, you're going to be doing that, right? I just get like tasks that I need to take care of and
just get it done. Yeah, as long as it's done within the allotted time frame.
Right. And it works really well. So, so at the onstart of everything, you got to be really clear about, hey, you can do this however you want it to be done, but this thing has to be done this way, right? So people don't get frustrated, like thinking they can do it whatever. But, okay, for example, at my work, you know, you can't send out marketing emails. It's just spam, right? So you have to use a certain program and approach people in a certain way, or else you're in violation of certain laws. I can't just be like, oh, well, that's just how I want to do it. Right? You can't. So I don't have autonomy there, but I do in many other facets of my job. Same with like gardening, you know, you got to plant a seed a certain way. Like
at a certain time.
At a certain time. Yeah. You can't just be like, oh, well, here's a bunch of seeds. Here's a stick to, you know, dig your hole or whatever. You figure it out. You know, there's certain things that need to be done. Now, do you need to oversee and be like, well, we wanted the rows horizontal instead of vertical? Maybe, if it was like a sun thing. But, you know, there's certain aspects that you're going to be able to let go. Like, we want you to specifically use the shovel in this manner. Give it a rest, you know. Okay. Describe desired results in detail. This is so important. Your lowest expectation is going to be their highest expectation. So if you want something done a certain way and for it to have a certain outcome, you need to be specific about what that outcome is, or they don't have a clue. It's the old beat around the bush syndrome. My little man Christian, he doesn't understand beat around the bush at all. They're like, well, I'd like you to do this eventually. Oh, it is not getting done. But if you're like, do this, do it now, do it right here, boom, it's over, it's done, you know? So be really, really specific. What is it that you want in that outcome? Why? This is the Erica syndrome. She's always like, why do I have to do this? Okay, what does it matter? So, how does it factor into a bigger picture? You know, hey, I want you to go dig these holes along this road, da-da-da. Why? Well, we're going to use them to do the fence. Keep all of us safe. That kind of thing. And then, what's the criteria for measuring success? Okay, the poles are all on the ground, but they're all jetting out to the left-hand side. You know, we want them straight, right? I mean, you can stack a wood pile or you can stack a wood pile. The difference between, all your logs have big gaping holes. You take one out, they all fall down, that kind of thing. Or it's all done properly where everybody's sitting together in the formation of a pyramid. So if you don't take one down, they don't all go rolling out. Yeah, we went through so much of that with the boys. Like, it's done. Oh, wow. Didn't give clear directions on that at all. So, if you want it done a certain way, make sure you're clear, really clear about that. Make sure they have the resources to do the job. Right? We want you to dig the holes, but the shovels are all broken. So, good luck with that. Maybe you should have the job of repair the shovels first. I don't know why I keep coming back to the shovels. But, training, supplies, time, money, if it's applicable, adjusted priorities. So you're giving somebody a new responsibility. If you just expect them to take this new responsibility on top of all their other responsibilities that they have, you might not have a successful employee. It might, or that person, that teammate might not be very successful at it because now they're trying to juggle 8 billion things. Their overwhelm chart just skyrocketed. I've watched it happen to a lot of managers who get moved up into a management position and they still think they need to do all the work of the line people. You've got to make sure that they have what they need to actually perform at that job. You can't hold them accountable if they don't. Establish checkpoints, milestones. So the person's not micromanaged and not under-led. So I might have like a little bit of the micromanaging problem going on. Just saying. I've also struggled in my personal life with like allowing myself to celebrate goals instead of just making a whole new list of new ones once I hit that checkpoint, right? So it's always like, oh yeah, well I got that done, but I got like 18 other things to do. So yay for me, onward, right? And it's like, no. Sometimes you need to really just stop personally even and go, good job, you're to the checkpoint. Well, that also needs to reflect in your leadership style. Like, good job. Half the holes are dug. They look beautiful. Or let's fix this before we move on to the next one so we know that problem's solved before we go anywhere else.
Right.
But you're also not standing there like, oh, that Paul's looking a little crooked. Oh, I think you should move. You got a little wiggle.
Before the person actually had the chance to self-correct.
Yes. That's true.
That's all as frustrating as the worker bee is getting corrected before you could self-correct.
Right. You need that moment to like be able to stand back and go like, oh, wow, that wood pile really looks like
part of
crap.
that learning and just delegating, right?
Yeah.
Letting the person do it.
Yeah, absolutely. In martial arts, when I'm training students, when people get up to, their higher belt level, you really see that skill start to come in to play where they can now look at themselves and be like, oh, no, I need to punch lower or I need this to be like that in their forms. So that's a really important. And so you can't always jump down their throat and be like, hey, get your punch fixed. Right? You got to give them the chance to do that. Encourage new creative ways to do things. Don't lean on how it was done in the past. So I could definitely see areas where this would be applicable and then not applicable. We go back to our seeds. It's got to be done a certain way. It's always been done that way in the past because it works, right? That's not to say like you couldn't take some and try to plant it at a different time of year and see what happens, but not like the whole stock or whatever, little experiments first. So I guess, yeah, I think I have a hard time with that one. Because
it might be one of those cases where you got to plant in March, but then it's a cold, it's a cold spring. So the person wants to wait a week or so, and it makes sense.
Yeah, that's true.
They're using their noggin.
Yeah. Instead of just being told, hey,
you got to plant in March, and they're out there planting. I don't care. The boss man said plant in March.
I'm doing it.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
This is the dumbest thing in the world, but I'm doing it.
Yeah. You're told, I'm just going to do it. So you wasted the whole stock.
Yeah. Right. Or all that time even, or resources, whatever. No, that's true. Okay. I like that. Because like I say, I think I lean on a little bit on how it's been done in the past. But then again, I also like to create my own. Like if I can leapfrog a work system, I'm definitely going to do it. Because I tend to just click a little bit quicker. So if I can, go from step A to C to D faster than having to put B in there, I'm going to do that too. It really annoyed some of my martial arts instructors, though. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I don't see that, Erica.
Yeah. Yeah. So, developing motivating environments. Nothing worse than working someplace where everybody's like, I showed up today. I don't want to be here. I want to leave early. I want to go. You're just like, it's the worst, you know? So that's when it's really important as the leader of knowing like when to cheerlead somebody. Hey, you're doing a great job. You know, you got to keep that up. We used to always do 2 positives with every negative. So, you know, hey, your stance was really good. Your punches were right on point, right where they're supposed to be. But we got to fix your high block. It needs to go here, right? And that helps people like feel up about what they're doing, but then still receive the correction. And obviously it depends on the person, because I just got yelled at a lot. So, but when I taught other people, I was expected to do that. So, know when to step in, when to step back. This is all experience, time. You should practice it in your personal relationships, you know. You see your wife, your spouse struggling with something, know when to step in and help her out. So you should be appreciative that, you know, you helped out, or when to step back because she really wanted to do it herself. Right? Yeah. That comes up a little bit too. Oh, especially with the kids though. Because you're like, oh, I want to help. But sometimes your helping doesn't give, like we said, doesn't give them the skills.
Give time, the room to grow.
Right. Or self-adjust. Know when to adjust your expectations. Know when to be available. Big one. Right? And celebrate success. So I already touched on that one. Okay. The doozy. Number 8. Tolerate risks and mistakes. I guarantee you are not perfect, because none of us are Jesus. And you're not perfect, and nobody that you ask to do anything is going to be perfect either. So, like, do not use that as an excuse to not delegate in the future. Well, I did it once, and they screwed it up. Well, like, did you even get them time to learn? Did you sit there and micromanage them the whole time? You know? So learning, not losing. And I understand big mistakes are made. I've made big mistakes. I think we all have, you know. But that's not a reason to not, you know, give somebody the opportunity, or give somebody else the opportunity. Maybe that person just wasn't the right fit. There's somebody else who's like, I really wanted to do that too. So, but yeah, tolerating risks and mistakes. It's hard when you're, as a leader, you're pretty critical of yourself. You got drive. If you're leading, you're heading up a family, you're taking care of survival groups, of CERT groups, of prepper camp, things like that. Obviously, you're going to be pretty darn critical of yourself and your own actions and behaviors. And so that is 100% going to translate to other people as a pretty hard martial arts instructor, you know? And that's because I'm just that rough on myself as well. So I had to understand, like, other people aren't going to operate with the same type of drive. So you have to give them chances to make mistakes, even without the same type of drive. You got to give them the opportunity to make mistakes, and not just be like, oh, well, you made a mistake. You're done. You're out of here. Out of the group. Good luck surviving out there alone. That was fun.
Run through them real quick.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And that's going to demotivate people like you would never believe.
Morale. The beatings will continue until the morale improves.
Yeah. Or on Remember the Titans? We are all going to do up downs until he is no longer thirsty. Okay. Like, wow. You know, there's a certain grind down, of course, that you're going to do in those type of situations. But, yeah, keep morale up is going to be really important. Really important. So it's going to have to be this delicate leadership, but at the same time has to be so tonally set, because people have to be able to move immediately, but also survive together. So good luck, everybody. Keep learning leadership. I'm still learning, you know. If I'm ever done, I think I'm going in the ground. I love learning. And that was a good little refresher today. Like I say, I'm going to apply that to many aspects.
We're here to help you, Sarah.
Hey, I love you guys. Thank you for encouraging me, for keeping me going. Hope you got as much benefit as I did, because that was amazing. There's times, you just need to stop and be like, okay, self-reflect. As much as it's challenging to do. All right. On that note, let's get into some changing Earth news. It's getting real damn ridiculous out there, everybody. Here we go.
Dream, survive, thrive. This is Changing Earth News.
We're changing Earth news. So we got 2 minor solar flares happen today. They should impact the middle of next week. The only thing that gives me any kind of pause for concern about these is because we have that activity that's moving up through the Gulf. And whenever we get the solar impacts on top of those storms, sometimes they get amplified. So other than that, it looks like a pretty dry week, minus the coastlines. The East Coast, not the West Coast. The West Coast is hot. So places like India been getting slammed with water, though. That's going to be an interesting topic today. We're going to touch quite a bit on that. Remember I was saying how weird it is that like some areas are flooding. Same country, same little place, like little country, like one of our little states. Half of it is flooded and half of it's drought. It is just being amplified like that all over the world right now. It's really interesting. So September 1st, we're going all the way back to last Sunday because I did my research on Saturday, so we have to do Sunday checkup. September 1st, 333 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 6.5 in Papua New Guinea. I almost put South Sandwich Islands on because they were in the number 2 slot. And I know you love your sandwiches.
Man.
I know.
Gonna have to get me a sweatshirt from that place.
Right? Still mega swarming in Middle America. Like it is still just lit up in Middle America as far as earthquake activity. And also in Central Asia. It's that weird little place. It's out in the desert, and they've just been having extreme weather out there. It just kind of makes you wonder, like, what's going on out there? Because just that one little spot in Central Asia is just always clicking with activity. The Derwent Valley, I'm sure I slaughtered that because it's in Tasmania. So I know Ellen will be like, what? They had a flood emergency warning issued. They've been just getting hit by windstorms and rain and flooding, and both Australia and Tasmania. It's kind of been a topic of articles like, what is going on in Australia right now? Istanbul, Turkey also received a huge storm, which provided a lot of flooding and even a hailstorm in Istanbul. On Monday, September 2nd, 2024, earthquakes were swarming all the way up north, up to North America. So kind of jumped. We got some spotting up there. The West Coast, Middle America, and then the Central Asia still hitting. And then it just really lit up heavily in Indonesia. 332 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.3 on the southeast Easter Island. 4.6 earthquake in Quebec. Kind of strange up there. Philippines were hit with this slow-moving storm. It's part of Yagi. It's a cyclone that came through. Victoria, New South Wales, was hit with the damaging windstorm. 180,000 people without power. Lots of damage from that. South Kashmir in India hit with heavy rain, wind, thunderstorms with hail. Their crops and their orchards and homes all received damage. They lost pretty much 100% of the apple harvest this year because of that hail. It was really sad to see. All apples just boom, out of the trees. The hail just took it out. On September 3rd, there was 336 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.3 in the Philippine Sea. The swarms were just clicking from North America all the way down to Central America. So the whole coastline of the western part of the United States lit up. And then from Indonesia all the way up to Russia lit up as well on the Ring of Fire. So very active day. This is one article I found very interesting. The Amazon River communities are being left stranded as the drought worsens and water dries up. It is really, really sad. Nobody's been talking about this. And when you see these pictures of what these communities, it's like, the Amazon's a huge river. So its water level is dropping. But it has lots of side rivers and stuff as well. So a lot of those side rivers are the ones that are drying up because there's just not enough water in the system. So the water level's been falling since June to the lowest level on record, and some rivers are completely drying up. You just see the houses that are supposed to be like there on the water edge, and they're just there with like the boats sitting on sand and stuff, which is crazy because we're receiving so much rain over in Africa that the Sahara is turning green again. So I'm sure if you ask somebody, this is all human-made and it's all our fault, but I really think it's called an Earth cycle that's happening. It's really, really interesting. And, we have all the evidence that the Sahara used to be green. The area used to be bountiful. So it's going to be interesting. On September 4th, 24... the swarming in the Americas continued. It moved to South America more than North America. Russia to Indonesia, all the way down to New Zealand. So we were getting hit at Tonga. All that activity just really intensified. 329 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger. Biggest of which was a 5.3 at the Solomon Islands. Nevada is still swarming as well. Much too close to the Long Valley caldera for my comfort. So we're not talking like right on it, but still in the area it's in, it's just too close for me to be like, oh, well, that's not a big deal. It is a big deal, and it's still swarming over there, so that's interesting. Deadly flooding in North Korea. Kim Jong-un killed like 30 of his executives because his country got flooded. So,
well, that's another way of running a group.
There you go. I mean, there's your leadership example. Mm-hmm. You don't like how they handled their responsibilities, you just kill them all.
For their heads.
Yeah. Interesting. And then they had like, he had a moment after, an emotional moment. Like, he just killed 30 people. Like, whatever. Andhra Pradesh in India, heavy rain, flooding in a flood alert in 4 districts. Big time flooding in San Antonio took place as well after heavy rains. The Bear Fire in Sierra County grew to 3,000 acres in California. And a sunken village emerged in Greece as the drought reduced the lake levels. So that's pretty neat to check out. On Thursday, September 5th, the earthquake activity, really centralized in Middle America, just spotting north and south. But Russia all the way up to Indonesia, that one also became less intense from Russia up to Indonesia. So it's kind of a lighter day. However, we had 383 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger. So we still had the big quakes. We just didn't have a lot of the little ones. 6.2 in the Bismarck Sea by Papua New Guinea was our biggest earthquake. There was also a 5.7 earthquake in Bolivia. China got hit with a storm, 77-mile-an-hour winds, ripped roofs off, and destroyed the street vendors. So these poor guys are, their carts are blowing down the street, and they're trying to hang on to them. It was kind of comical. I know I probably shouldn't laugh at their misfortunes, but it was a little bit comical. Iceland still erupting, lava expanding northward there in Iceland. Boise County, Idaho, the Wapiti fire grew to from 2,000 acres to 112,000 acres. So lots of activity going on there. Namibia. In Namibia, because their drought has been so bad. So we've been reading, or I've been, presenting to you guys all about all these places in Africa that are flooding, getting those monsoonal rains. It's, they're worried about cholera outbreaks and all of this because of all the rain. But in Namibia, they've had drought for so long, they're going to cull, which means kill, 700. I don't know why they call it culling. Just why don't you just say the truth? They're going to kill 700 animals as part of a relief program. And this includes 83 elephants. I was like, aren't we fighting to bring the elephants back and make sure they're there? And I don't understand the logic of it. There's only so much water. And so better that, only 83 die rather so everybody else can have water and stuff. But sometimes I wonder about, just humans meddling in everything all the time. And that's just a lot of wildlife to lose. So maybe we could send them some water or something, I don't know what the situation is.
I just looked up cull. Definition is to select or remove from a group.
Okay.
So that's why it's not just the act of the kill, it's removing, it's thinning the herd basically.
Maybe they're not going to kill them then. Maybe they just bring them in and ship them out to zoos or something.
Here's your rose-colored glasses.
I'm trying, man. It's so sad. So one of the things about elephants, just real quick, when they used to do the gladiator games, they were going to do this big elephant battle. And so many elephants were going to die. They had 100 elephants there. And when they started killing the elephants started crying and just screaming in pain and tears and just emotion. And the crowd was like, no, don't kill any more elephants. They're just really intelligent. And I don't know why I just have a soft spot for them. So 22 South Ohio counties declare a natural disaster due to drought. They've been getting killed with rain up there, but these 22 counties are in a drought. It's just land of extremes. Very curious. September 6, 2024, 359 earthquakes are 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.7 in Argentina. That was just the big hit of the day. It was just spotty activity in South America, actually North America coastline and Middle America. That activity really intensified there. And then it would again lit up from New Zealand all the way to Russia. Big activity going on. 16 people, unfortunately, lost their lives when Yagi hit the Philippines. And they don't know how many specifically were lost at sea. They're thinking it's around a couple dozen people that they also lost at sea when that cyclone came through. Really, really devastating storm that came through. The dust storm overtook the Burning Man festival that happens out in Death Valley every year. And last year they got flooded out. This year they just got smacked with a big old dust storm. And Mount Semeru in Indonesia had a big eruption again. On September 7th, 2024, 333 earthquakes are 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 6.0 in the South Pacific Ocean near Tonga. Some of the Middle American activity intensified again, but the Mediterranean really lit up, and Indonesia activity wasn't as major. But there was a 3.9 near Ontario, followed by another earthquake. There was a 3.9 earthquake swarm near Los Angeles. There was a 6.0 near the Tonga region. Well, that was my first one. And then there was a 4.5 that knocked out power in Hunter region in Australia. So a lot of big activity happening. Yagi hit Taiwan and China on that day, killed 6 people, injured 78 more, major property damage. We're talking 99 mile an hour winds ripping through. Hunan was especially hard hit, and about 50,000 people had to be evacuated out of there. So we're talking a big storm. UK was hit with heavy rains, flooding. NBC, their fires are also intensifying right now. There's been a major heat dome just laying in over the west part of North America. So big time wildfire risk again, resurged after last week. We had a pretty good week. September 8th, that is today, Sunday. There's been 349 earthquakes that are 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was another 6.0 hit in Tonga. So you can be sure that energy is going to be blasting out from there. Middle America and South America activity intensified again. Russia to New Zealand went off big time today. I don't know if it was already like pre-energy from the CMEs or what, but that just got so much more swarmy in there. There was a 5.3 earthquake at the Geysers in California, 55 aftershocks. The Geysers gets a lot of activity, but that is a lot of activity. That is a place where they actually do the geothermal heating. So they drill down in, and then they use the geothermal heating to spin turbines. And so that's why they get a lot of earthquakes here. I don't usually report on them, but 55 aftershocks, that's pretty intense. The San Bernardino fire exploded. It's called the line fire. It exploded yesterday. Wind and heat just kicking that thing up. They're having evacuations happening right now. I can't remember. I think it's up to like 120. It might not even be that much. It only might be like 7,000 acres. But it went from like nothing to those 77,000 acres just overnight. Bolivia is also calling for a national emergency due to the raging forest fires that are happening there. 17,000 acres. It's right outside of their big city. I can't remember what it is right now. But they're worried about it coming in, and their whole city is just in smoke. Okay, so big news that I have for you today. The volcanoes. So I was impressed when we saw 34 for the first time. We see 34 volcanoes erupting. I'm thinking, okay, this is just going to be a fluke. We're going to be back down the 20s. It used to be weird to see 29, 28 erupting at once. That was like, wow, that's okay. So when we got up to 34, I was like, wow. But then it hung out for months. Now we're up to 35 volcanoes actively erupting. We've added one more to that list. We got 91 showing activity on our planet altogether. 32 showing minor activity. 24 showing unrest. Still mostly in Indonesia, but the Ring of Fire is following. More and more are erupting around the Ring of Fire. So we definitely have to keep eyes on that. Especially we have this planetary alignment coming with the gas giants that are going to form like the square on October 20th. And last time that happened was like 87 AD. And that's when Mount Vesuvius erupted last time. So really interesting stuff. And then keep in mind, too, that Edgar Cayce was like, when Vesuvius and Pele erupted at the same time, it's bad news for Nevada. So we have that sitting there. And we have Campi Flegrei, which is showing activity, which is basically Italy's Yellowstone. So if you had Campi Flegrei go off at the same time as Vesuvius was, I'm like, holy moly. I hope somebody else is actually watching, like paying attention to these numbers who could like warn people more than I can with my little Changing Earth podcast. But yeah, that's something to see. As far as wildfires in the United States, we are at a preparedness level of 5, which is our top number. We have 70 large fires currently burning for a total of 2,034,000 acres. 3 of those fires are contained. There's 5 new ones that were just added to the list. Number 1 state on fire is Oregon. They had 2 new fires. They have 23 active fires for a total of 543,000 acres. Only 1 of those fires is contained. California is second on the list. They have 1 new fire, 7 active burning fires for a total of 484,000 acres. None of those fires are contained. Wyoming is number 3 on the list. And one of the sad things is I've been told a lot of what's burning in Wyoming is actually wheat fields. So that's never a good thing. No new fires, 5 active fires for a total of 468,000 acres. Only one of those fires is contained. And then Idaho, number 4 on the list, no new fires, 19 active fires, 301,000 acres on fire, and none of those are contained. So there we go. We're just going to keep eyes on this situation with the volcanoes as we come up to October 20th. I don't know. I just, I watch a lot of different media on just different aspects. Like, we can't always depend on how it's been done in the past, right? We got to form new paths. And to see all of these things kind of lining up, it's like, uh-oh. So, yeah, Intrepid Commander, sleep well, my friend. He's always like, I'll never sleep now. Alrighty, guys. Well, we went a little bit over time. Thank you for coming, spending your time with us tonight. We're just jamming up for Prepper Camp. To get the live roundtable, I'm going to be posting the roundtable that we do on Friday night a week after. But if you want to listen to the live show, you got to get over to PBN. I've got a link to it on my website at changingearthseries.com. Go over to Prepper Broadcast Network, and you can hear that live. It won't be on Sunday night. It would be on Friday night. And then we won't have a show, obviously, when Prepper Camp is going on, because I can't record from the road. And then the week after that, we'll do a replay of the roundtable. So we're going to get done with Virgis. We only have 4 more chapters to go. 3. So we might finish it before that. It's going to be close. It's going to be really close. It might be like you have to wait for that last episode till after. But that's okay. That's how we roll here. And then we'll be moving on. Another book down. Alrighty, I'm not going to take up any more of your time. Head on over to changingearthseries.com. Everything is there. Social media, the merchandise, the novels, the links to Prepper Broadcasting Network. Everything you possibly need to know is over there. changingearthseries.com. Check it out. And until next time, remember, dream,
survive,
thrive.
Thank you for joining Sarah and Chen for this episode of the Changing Earth podcast. Don't forget to pick up your copy of Day After Disaster, Without Land, The Walls of Freedom, Battle for the South, Dark Days in Denver, and The Endless Night at www.authorSarahFHathaway.com. If you love the Changing Earth series and podcast, become a supporter while you're there.